Hi guys, follow me on Instagram to never ever miss any of my crazy updates. Hi guys and welcome to another vlog. I'm driving this. This is the Mahindra XUV300 Petrol Automatic known as the Auto Shift. But before we start, let me share some useful information with you guys. Did you know that one major aspect that increases the on-road cost of your new car is the insurance you buy from the dealer? I would highly recommend you to get a quote for your new car from Acco Insurance on acco.com and save up to 50% because they don't charge any commission. It's completely online, very easy to purchase within a few minutes and involves zero paperwork. If you're looking to purchase insurance for your new or old car, head directly to acco.com. And back to the vlog. This XUV300 does look very nice indeed. It's a truncated version of the Tivoli. That is a 3-cylinder engine. Little bit of vibration, you can feel it's moving, but there is insulation right there. And I actually like the design of this car. You get front parking sensors. Of course, the grille is nice, has the chrome treatment. The lights are beautiful too, but don't get the all LED treatment. Obviously, you get a LED DRL, which is quite long. That's what she said. Projector setup on the inside. That is the indicator, which is a halogen. This is the fog lamp, which is again a halogen, but you see there is this piano black finishing, which looks nice. And chrome is there on the bumper as well. Okay, you can see the indicator. There's the indicator, uses bulbs. Coming to the side of the car, you realize that it is actually Chintu because it's sub 4 meter in length. It's exactly 3995 mm in terms of length, but the wheelbase is quite big, 2600 mm, which is the same as the City as well as the Verna. That's the reason it has good amount of space on the inside. The wheels are big, 17 inches on this car. In fact, the tire size happens to be 215/55/17. I actually like the alloy wheel design, and that is the suspension, which you can see. There's this body cladding running throughout the car. The design is actually quite nice, and I love this dual tone treatment. In fact, this gives the floating roof treatment. Obviously, the C-pillar, which is finished in black. The roof is white colored. You get roof rails, a sunroof, an antenna, and of course a rear spoiler too. Now, nothing much has changed. Actually, nothing has changed in terms of the aesthetics of this car, but still looks quite nice. Rear could have been a little bit more adventurous. Feels a bit flattish. They've put a lot of black and this, sort of a skid plate to reduce the visual bulk. You get reverse parking sensors. W8 Auto Shift is written right there. This is of course these are the reverse fog lamps. Yeah, because they are there on both the sides. Where's the exhaust of the car? There is the exhaust of the car. Yeah, underbody you can see, and the suspension too. Meanwhile, the lights are actually nice, but no LEDs. Yeah, halogens, kind of disappointing. Of course, this red color suits this car, seems like the signature color. You get a high mounted stop lamp as well. Rear wiper washer too. Let's open the boot. There's the reverse parking camera. The biggest issue with this car is the fact that the boot is actually very small. It is just 257 liters, which makes it smaller than hatchbacks as well. So, they put all the space on the inside. When they were chopping off the Tivoli, they just chopped off the boot. Let's see what is there below here. Obviously, there is a spare wheel, which cannot be a full-size one because they just cannot fit a full-size one. In fact, the size is 205/65/16. It's a steel wheel, of course. 60/40 split. I've actually split it forward. Let me take that back. All right, some amount of effort. Nurin, can you push your seat ahead? Yeah. We are back into place. Come on, slot. Okay, this seatbelt mechanism coming into the picture. Now it's slotted. Now you can see the boot isn't big enough at all, and I don't like the cuts here. It's not the best way to actually do a boot, but never mind. The parcel shelf is not there in this car, which is actually part of optional equipment. I mean, you can buy it as an accessory, which again is disappointing because the parcel shelf will hardly cost something which should be their standard. Maybe they want to give you the impression that the boot is very big by not giving a parcel shelf. You see 3 adjustable headrests. Well, that is no joke because yes, the rear seat experience is quite good because the cabin is actually wide enough to seat 3. There's good amount of legroom on offer. You see there's storage space, slight scooped out, and the recline angle of the seat is also nice. But 3 adjustable headrests at the rear. Why? Because 3 people can actually sit in comfortably. Recline angle is also fine. Let's get inside. You can see there's good amount of space on offer. Actually, I like the legroom. I like the knee room. Under thigh support is okay, fine. Could have been better for sure. Yeah, under thigh support could have been better. Headroom is okay. It's actually good enough for a tall passenger like me. There's a hook handle on both the sides. There's a light placement in the center, and there's a center armrest as well with twin cup holders. But no rear AC vents, which is quite surprising. No rear USB charging socket as well. Door pockets are big enough at the rear, and you get this piano black finishing, speakers, and lot of hard plastics, but the window area is actually large enough. See, it says SRS airbag because this car has got 7 freaking airbags. 7 airbags in this car, including a knee airbag as well. Okay, let's get to the front. Now the XUV300 is loaded with a ton of features. The build quality is also very nice. It has got a ton of features, and that's the reason why it's so expensive. There's a request sensor here on the driver side as well as on the co-driver side. So keyless entry, push button start. The driver seat is adjustable in a multitude of ways. This is to open the fuel lid. Nice mats, rather the XUV300 badging here looks nice. There's a dead pedal right there. This is the fuse box, and this is for the parking sensors, this is for the ESP, and this is for the headlight leveler. Again, door pockets are big enough at the front. You get 2 cup holders, and I love the quality of the switchgear. For the power window control, this is obviously for the outside rear view mirror adjustment. This is to lock or unlock the door. This is for child lock, and this is obviously the power window controls. Now, you see the door almost opens 90 degrees. Well, not as much as the Tata Ultros, but still we are somewhere there between 83.4 degrees. Let's get inside. Seats are actually very comfortable. Hi Noreen, what's up? Do you like the car?
Up? Yeah.
What's up? I'll tell you what is up. A sunroof is up here, of course. Wasn't that obvious? Now, the dashboard design is nice, but hard plastics are there. Still, overall quality levels are fantastic. There's storage space here. The glove box is massive. That's what she said. Storage space here. Look at the depth of this glove box, including a light, but could have got the cooling function. Again, there's storage space here as well, along with a regular 12-volt charging socket, 2 USB charging sockets along with an aux here. It could have got more storage space, specifically at the rear. You get twin cup holders. Below the front center armrest, there's storage space. Again, it is big enough. Handbrake, of course. This is the start engine stop button. The steering wheel is adjustable only for height. Meanwhile, this is actually a small touchscreen infotainment system. Could have been bigger, but I'm not going to mind it at all because it's got plenty of information, especially this car information tells you a lot of details, like what is the real-time fuel efficiency of the car, distance to empty. It's got tire pressure monitoring system, alerts and whatnot. Now the XUV300 also gets something known as the Blue Sense Plus app, which has got 43 connected car features as well. Again, the usual like geofencing, and you can see overspeeding alerts and the regular bit which we see in connected car tech. So I don't want to go into that because all of you already know about it. Auto dimming inside rear view mirror. There is a sunglass holder right there, and I like the treatment here. Okay, open this and the light turns on. There's a mirror, of course, here. Same is the case on the other side as well. Neatly done, Mahindra, neatly done. Plenty of lights on the top, but this is how you turn them on. Let's do one thing. Let's open the sunroof of the car. Now the sunroof is available in mid variants as well now, which is nice. W6 onwards, I believe. Which is again a nice touch because everybody loves a sunroof in India now, don't we? Meanwhile, this infotainment screen is actually quite visible in the day. Easy to browse as well. Let's get into reverse. This is the reverse parking camera. Look at it, what happens, okay?
Please select the parking mode if you need assistance.
So basically it helps you park.
Align the arc line with the parking slot
Chal apne baap ko mat sikha.
Turn the steering wheel to the maximum.
Yeah, I'm telling him to silent himself. Yeah, so this is another feature which maybe newbie drivers will find interesting, but I don't, because he's not parking for me, he's just telling me how to do it. Jokes aside, this instrument cluster feels a bit dated, and you know what is very, very funny? This multi-information display to be browsed, the buttons are actually here. If you want to browse through here, you have to press button there. On the center console, it tells you temperature, it tells you a lot of information like twin trip meters, obviously average speed, distance to empty and whatnot. Again, nice. And the display, obviously, which is digital, tells you the engine temperature as well as the fuel level of the car, distance to empty, odometer. But we have got an analog tachometer, analog speedometer, and all the telltale lights which are placed all over the place. Now it gets automatic headlights. It also gets automatic wipers. Okay, it's got decent amount of spray on offer, actually quite a lot of spray on offer. Wipers work really well on the car. You've got a rear wiper too. Steering has plenty of buttons. This is obviously for the audio system. This is for the cruise control. The horn is a bit meek, I would say. Now there are plenty of buttons here. You know why are these buttons? Obviously this tells you who's wearing a seatbelt, who's not wearing a seatbelt. This is for the front fog, actually the defogger. This is for, again, the instrument cluster mode. This is for steering mode. So there's 3 steering modes on offer. You can change it to sport, comfort or normal. Right now we just keep it at normal. Now this air conditioning system is very nice because it gets a dual zone climate control air conditioning. With a memory function, you can actually save, I think, up to 3 people's memory, that what is the temperature you want to maintain. That again is a nice touch. So air conditioning works brilliantly well on this car. Well, this is the new gear lever. I don't like the way the gear lever is done. Now we can get more features like ventilated seats, a wireless charger, and the things which the Koreans are offering, because at the price of this XUV300, you definitely expect more. Anyways, let's listen to an audio right away. I don't even know what they're playing on radio these days. Jokes aside, since nothing much has changed on the inside, let's concentrate on the driving experience. Let's start driving right away. The attention to detail is very good indeed. Turn off the car, it says goodbye, And when you turn on the car now, it does a full swipe up. It also shows you exactly which door is open. Yeah, it does a full swipe up as well. Even the seat belts get the height adjust function saying check tire direction, showing me the tire direction. Now what you're going to do is you're going to try the creep mode. Okay, into drive, I leave the brakes and you see the car creeps forward ahead at around 6-7 kilometers per hour. 8 kilometers per hour. It's creeping ahead very comfortably. Apply brakes, comes to a halt. In fact, this creep function also works in reverse gear. We are in reverse right now, and it's creeping backwards as well. So very comfortable in that sense with the creep function, which is a nice touch. Now, of course, this is an AMT gearbox, which obviously robs away spirited performance, but Mahindra is like, it's got a manual mode, so you can take manual control of things. So here we are in manual mode. It doesn't get any paddle shifters. Okay, it's an easy car to drive. Steering wheel is quite light, easy to twirl. Here we are at the start line where I'm going to accelerate and show you the acceleration of this car. We're going to get into reverse here. Now, there are a lot of things which need to be set. First and foremost, we are going to change the steering mode. We're going to put it on sport. That's not all. I'm also going to turn off ESP. So here we are into drive mode. Air conditioning is completely off. Steering mode into sport. Traction control off. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator. Let's get into car info here. Nothing much else to do. Revving the motor. Rev still only 2000 RPM and a little bit of wheel spin. It's actually upshifting before 6000 RPM. So upshifts quite fast. Yeah, when I meant quite fast, I meant that it should have held the red line faster. Not in terms of the quality or the speed of the shift. I meant it purely in the way the shifts should have happened later on, but then red line comes in at 6000 RPM in the manual as well. Braking performance is actually quite nice. Here, hard onto the brakes. Show footage, stopping power. Let's get going. So it's got all-wheel disc as well, which is again very impressive for a car of this segment to have all-wheel disc. Ride quality is fantastic. You can go over these roads without any issue whatsoever because the suspension does a fantastic job in absorbing almost everything in its stride, which again is fantastic because the ride quality is super impressive on this car. And even the handling is actually quite good. The steering wheel, although you can change the modes of the steering wheel, still doesn't offer you the amount of feel or feedback you would expect. It weighs up, without a doubt it weighs up, but doesn't improve the sharpness or the feel from the steering when you change the modes as such. But it's light at lower speeds. Now this is a 1.2 litre petrol engine. The horn could have been better though. Now this 1.2 litre petrol engine is peppy enough. Yeah, it is peppy enough, this engine. You know why? Because it has got decent amount of low end grunt, but there is lag lower down, and that lag lower down is slightly better contained in this car. You know why it's better contained in this car? Simply because this AMT tries to mask that up. Speed breakers, no problem. You can take it in your stride without any issue whatsoever. See, around the corner, body roll is there. Obviously, body roll is there, but it's quite well contained. You can't feel much of the roll when you don't drive it fast, but when you try to push it hard now, it understeers. Obviously, that's a characteristic front wheel drive trait of understeering when you try to go really hard through the corners, but there's good amount of grip on offer without a doubt. Grip level is not a problem. Now this 1.2 litre petrol engine produces 110 horsepower. Meanwhile, the torque output is a very impressive 200 Newton meters. Yeah, 200 Newton meters of torque, which comes in between 2000 to 3500 RPM, and that's where the meat of the torque band and the power band is. So between 2000 to 3500 RPM is where this motor feels the most alive. Otherwise, lower down the rev range, there is some lag you have to contend with. And then beyond 4000 RPM, the motor kind of feels dead. There's no point pulling it there because then it doesn't have any grunt as such. In fact, it gets quite noise in the higher end of the rev range, but overall refinement is quite impressive lower down. You can't hear much. Some amount of vibrations can be felt, especially at idle now. You can feel the body moving a bit. The vibrations from the doors can be felt, but overall refinement levels are fantastic from this engine. Now the AMT obviously does performance to a great extent, but it adds the convenience, and that convenience comes courtesy of the fact that it has also got hill hold assist, so the car will not roll back. And these small features really bode well in terms of improving the overall driving feel of this XUV300 in city traffic, because that is where this car is aimed for. Now the petrol engine is not the most fuel efficient. It will return somewhere between 10 to 14 kilometers per liter depending on your driving style, but you won't really care unless and until you really care. You would buy a diesel because the diesel is just better. But this petrol engine is also very impressive. It's a 3-cylinder unit, turbocharged of course, has good amount of grunt, and get on the gas, little bit lag, and then it pulls nicely and strongly, gets vocal in the top end of the rev range. My only issue is that it just doesn't have any top end punch. So it has a turbo but doesn't have a top end. So the amount of RPM you can play with is very restrictive, because 2 to 4000 RPM is where the action lies. Kind of feels like a diesel in that sense. Now 0 to 100 kilometers per hour takes around 13 seconds, which actually makes it quite slow. But this engine doesn't rev fast. That is the only big issue I see. Other than that fact, it has that big car feel because of the ride quality, which is supremely impressive. The ride feels very well sorted out. It absorbs almost everything in its stride, like big potholes, bumps, nothing, not an issue at all, thanks to the bigger wheels as well. But Mahindra has tuned the ride quality of this car, rather the suspension, very well. Fantastic to say the least. And that's not all. Even the handling is quite nice. So the ride and handling balance is one of the best in the segment without a doubt. That was the front parking sensor making noise. Onto the gas, takes some time to respond. Thankfully, it does take some time to respond because that guy jumped out of nowhere. And if this wasn't an AMT, we would be gone past by then. But jokes aside, you know what, there's slight nosedive under heavy braking, but brakes again very impressive. I don't know why this place is a speed breaker land. You accelerate and you come to another speed breaker. Why is there another speed breaker here? I have no clue whatsoever. Come on. Now what is this manual mode? Because it shifts, it still shifts. Only thing is, it takes me till almost 6,000 RPM and we are another at a speed breaker. What is happening? Now you know what, before I accelerate again, there will be another speed breaker. I can guarantee you that. Manual mode is not really giving me manual control of things. So what is the point of a manual mode if I cannot actually hold on to the revs? Which is something even Maruti's AMT cars offer you full manual control of things. Unfortunately, that is kind of missing here. Come on. Yeah. The engine is very impressive on paper. 200 Newton meters of torque. Blew my mind. That's diesel level torque. But out on the road, even before you can judge something, you hit a speed breaker. So this is speed breaker land called Thane in Mumbai. Come on, XUV300, show me what you've got. Actually, the diesel is so good now, it's so good now that the petrol just doesn't feel exciting enough. And this AMT further blunts things. The good thing is with the BS6 update, Mahindra has not dulled the performance. They're not dulled, they have not even reduced the power output or the torque output. They use the same catalytic converter as the BS4 model, made tweaks here and there to improve the overall performance of the car in terms of meeting emission norms, of course, not in terms of outright performance, and does a great job in that sense. But that urgency is just missing. This is not an enthusiast car. The XUV300 diesel is, because it feels so much more fun to drive. The manual, of course, not the AMT. Now they call it the auto shift or whatever they want to call it. At the end of the day, it's an AMT, and an AMT has its inherent flaws of taking its own sweet time to make shifts. Even though the fact is that Mahindra's plant or the factory is nearby only, still it takes so much time to shift gears. You know why am I saying that? Because my theory is that AMTs are so slow. Once you want a shift, they send the command back to headquarters approve it, and then you get it. So with Renault's AMTs, it goes all the way to France. With other brands AMTs, again, with Nissan, it goes to Japan and all that stuff. But with this one being around the corner, the command central where the approval happens, still not fast enough. That was a very bad joke. But get on the gas, that punch is just missing, that immediate grunt, and we are hit another speed breaker. Oh my god, how many speed breakers will it cross today? You see, it takes so long to make a shift. So flat out acceleration isn't impressive. In fact, this is not a car you want to drive flat out or hard as well, because in the top end it doesn't have anything, and then the AMT gearbox kicks in and says, you know what, wait a second, let me think, should I make a shift, should I not make a shift? Takes its own sweet time to do that, and that really bogs down the performance. Here James Bond is coming. Auto rickshaw drivers are, I was saying auto rickshaw drivers are so good with their navigation now. It's like they're playing Need for Speed or Road Rash already. Another speed breaker. Guys, you guys have to count how many speed breakers we have encountered on this vlog. Before I accelerate, I have to brake, because that is the amount of speed breakers on offer. I think this is speed breaker lane or something of that sort. Come on, accelerate. Yeah, the performance could have been more impressive. And that's the thing I want to tell you, that in spite of turbocharging, still it doesn't feel exciting enough. Somehow the Breza's K15 motor feels more exciting, and that's saying something, because firstly it uses a torque converter, of course, but the major aspect there is that it is fast revving, it's free revving, it doesn't feel hesitant at all. This one feels a little hesitant in terms of gear shift, and most importantly, it doesn't rev fast enough, doesn't have a top end grunt, and doesn't even sound that great. It just wants to take it easy. But then the auto shift is not about outright performance, it's more about, of course, the convenience of an automatic which it offers in hordes. The only good thing is that the ground clearance is ample at 180 mm, and of course brakes are also nice, and the ride is also good, so I have no problem tackling these speed breakers. If I was in another car, probably the EQC, well, that has a low ground clearance for an SUV, very low ground clearance. You have to really tackle it very smartly there, but that's a topic for another day altogether. Now this XUV300's pricing has been revised lately, so they have made it more aggressive. I think they've reduced it by around 70,000-80,000 rupees. But the problem is, in spite of the price revision, it's still on the expensive side. It is still a pricier car in the segment, and the features kind of do justice to that, to the pricing to a certain extent. But the Indian market is so price conscious that people see Mahindra and Tata cars to be something which will be the most attractively priced in the segment. But that's not the case, because the Maruti Suzuki Vitara Brezza is the most attractively priced car in the segment. Obviously, it's an old car, misses out on a lot of features, but Mahindra's done a good job by offering so many features in the XUV300. Blue Sense obviously gets connected car tech, which is again very impressive. But what's most impressive is the refinement of this engine, good mid-range punch, and the convenience of an automatic, as long as you don't ask it to shift gears fast, which no AMT gearbox is able to do. But those functions like creep function and obviously hill hold also bodes well. So as I see it, the XUV300 petrol brings in the convenience of an automatic with the petrol, but I am the person who will still choose a diesel any day, every day, because fuel efficiency for the win, and a speed breaker on a signal, that's a first for me.
Bus karo, cut it. Sweating.
Now we are on an incline because the car is on a speed breaker. I leave the brakes, the car doesn't roll back and then crawls ahead smoothly. So the functions work really very nice. So guys, this is my vlog of the Mahindra XUV300 automatic, auto shift, petrol, BS6, whatever names you want to tell, I will tell it right away. The only reason I'm so excited is because I want to end this vlog. I'm sweating like crazy. It's like water dripping from my face. And on that disappointment, it's time to end. If you like this vlog, make sure to give the come on, accelerate baby, what are you waiting for? It's sleeping below 2000 RPM. Wake up and smell the coffee.